Welcome to the Perris. Oh,
I can't hear.
okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Perris Union High School District regular board meeting of December 16th, 2020. The board will be respecting recent orders from the Governor of California, the Health Officer of the
Hello?
County of Riverside, and
Can you guys
guidelines.
hear me or no?
Yes.
Um,
County of Riverside and guidelines for the Center of Disease Control related to the maintaining public health and the safety of all at this time. Consistent with these orders and guidelines, the meeting will be held online only, and there will be no physical meeting location open to the public.
okay.
The board encourages members of the public to join the meeting electronically. In order to submit public comments electronically, please refer to the link at the bottom of the screen. Public comments will be accepted until the board reconvenes the meeting in open session at 5 p.m. At this time, I'm going to go to number 2.1, the call to order. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 3:36 p.m. One time I get to use the gavel, right? I'm going to ask for a roll call to determine a quorum. Trustee Arau?
Here.
Trustee Vallejo?
Can you hear me?
Now I hear you. Present, okay. Trustee Freeman?
Here.
Trustee Nellison?
Okay. Got
Here.
it.
Trustee Stafford? You're muted, Mr.
Yeah.
Stafford.
Here.
We have established a quorum. There's no vote required on this. All items requiring a vote will be an oral vote for this meeting, followed with an electronic vote. We're going to move on to item 3.1, the oath of office. So I'd like Mr. Nellison, Mr. Stafford, and Ms. Vallejo to please stand and repeat after me. You have to unmute yourselves.
Okay.
Ms. Vallejo.
Now that you can see me. There we go.
Ms. Vallejo, could you unmute yourself, please? There we go. Unmute yourself now. Okay. Just have to unmute. There you
Hello.
go.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but we're just having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, we hear you fine.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know, but I can't really hear you guys. I can't really hear what's going on your end, so still trying to look for it.
Okay. Do you hear me okay?
I think I can just hear you because you're in the other room, but it's very low, and we're trying to figure it out right now.
Is it any better now?
Okay, perfect. She is just gonna use her computer more this way so that I can hear. But yeah, I don't hear any feedback on your guys' end. So
Mr. Bennett, we're improvising on the fly here, so Ms. Vallejo is just going to use my computer for this so that we can figure it out in between.
Okay.
Okay, so you can hold here. Thank you so much.
Okay. So we're going to have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I,
David
Anthony
Nelson,
Stafford,
Do solemnly swear
do
do
solemnly
solemnly
swear
swear
that I will support and defend
that
that
I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the
the
Constitution of the State of California
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and
foreign and
domestic,
domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the
to the
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the
and
Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and I will well and faithfully
and I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
discharge the duties about which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, you're all sworn in at this time.
Okay.
So we'll move on to item 4.1, which is invitation to address the board on closed session items only. And Ms. Fetzner says we have no request to address the board tonight. So moving on, we'll move on to item 5.1, adjourn to closed session. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Nellison and Mr. Stafford. All those in favor? We're going to do a roll call vote on this. So Dr. Rouse,
Aye.
Ms. Vallejo,
Aye.
Dr. Freeman,
Aye.
Mr. Nellison,
Aye.
and Mr. Stafford.
Aye.
So we're going into closed session at 3:43 p.m. We okay, Anna?
I'm just waiting on Elizabeth.
Yeah, if she has to go back to her own computer, she's logged in there.
We're still waiting for that, Anna. You're muted right now, David.
Sorry, I'm talking to Charles in the closed session meeting right now.
Oh. We're all good. Motion carries 5-0, so we'll be in closed session. We'd like to reconvene in public session the Perris High School District regular board meeting. If everyone could please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we move to the next item, I would like to make an introduction to our community and our constituents out there. We have a new board member joining us tonight for our first meeting, Miss Elizabeth Vallejo. She's a Perris High grad, and we're glad to have her joining us and look forward to great things over the next 4 years. Next up on the agenda, we're going to move to item number 7.1, which is the invocation. Trustee Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for all of those that have been affected by COVID at this time, either physically, emotionally, or even economically. Thank you very much.
We'll move on to item number 8.1, election of officers. This is our annual organization meeting. The first office that we're going to place would be the president for this year. So I'm looking from our board members for a nomination for president for this school year.
I'd like to nominate Dr. Jose Rouse for president.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for Dr. Rouse. Any other nominations for president?
I third. I'm sorry. I don't remember the term, so
So we have motion and a second, no other. So I'm going to close the nominations for president of the Perris High School District Board of Trustees. So we have Dr. Jose Rouse nominated. All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Okay, so congratulations, Dr. Rouse. By a vote of 5-0, you'll be taking over as president right now.
Can they?
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett, and thank you to the Board of Trustees for giving me the opportunity to serve during this year as president of this wonderful Board of Education of this great district. So thank you. All right, so before the next item is going to be the election of the vice president. Go ahead, Anna.
I need an electronic vote real quick.
Okay. Can you please vote?
We good, Anna?
You got the vote, Anna?
Sorry, it was me. My computer had issues and I had to log out and log back in.
Oh, okay, perfect. Excellent. Thank you, Anna. So we are going to go to the next item, that is election of the vice president. Do I have a nomination? I would like to nominate Mr. Tony Stafford as vice president for this year.
I'll second that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other nomination? No other nominations. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And now we are going to vote electronically. Okay, this motion passes 5-0, and Mr. Tony Stafford is the vice president for this coming year. Congratulations, Mr. Stafford.
Thank you. Thank you. Just to say a couple of words, thank you all for your support over the past year as my term of president, and I appreciate each and every one of you. We really work well together, and I'm sure we'll continue to. Thank you very much. And we can We can
Thank you,
continue.
sir.
Okay.
And before going to the next item, 8.3, that is the election of the clerk, I just want to say thank you to everybody for the support to end the nominations. Okay, so item 8.3, action item, election of the clerk. Do I have a nomination for clerk?
I'd like to nominate Dr. Freeman.
I second the nomination for Dr. Freeman. Before we vote, do we have any other nomination? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 And now we are going to vote electronically. Action item 8.4 has been passed 5-0, and Dr. Randall Freeman is the clerk of this Board of Education. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. And David, I'll get you for this.
The next, let me see, 8.3 clerk. Action item 8.4 is the election of representatives to the County Committee on School District Organization. Do I have a nominee?
I'd like to nominate Trustee Nelson, if he would like. No, he would not like. Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Trustee Ellison, you accept the nomination?
I do accept the nomination.
You do? Okay.
I think you need a second though.
I second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I second it, and then Trustee Ellison, just for formality, you accept the nomination?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Any other nomination? Okay, we are going to vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Now we are going to vote. And action item 8.4 has been approved 5-0, and Mr. David Nelson is the County Committee on School District Organization representing our Perris High School District. Let's go. Congratulations, Mr. Nelson. The next action item is going to be 8.5, regular board meetings, selection of the date, time, location of our regular board meetings. And we all have the opportunity to look at the PDF document. So I just want to ask one question, Mr. Bennett. Is that okay if we continue saying aye, all in favor, or do we have to do it individually how we were doing it last time? When we do the oral vote.
I think you're okay doing it the way you're doing because they can count them.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay. So let's go back. Do I have a motion to approve item 8.5?
So moved.
Trustee Stafford, second, please.
Second.
Trustee Nelson, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
So now we are going to vote.
Mhm.
I'm not seeing the results, Ms. Fessner.
We're just waiting on Dr. Freeman.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I thought it was frozen or something happened.
I think we
Well,
lost him.
I don't even see him in the meeting. I think we lost him.
He's calling me right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
Right.
Had lots of minutes. Now it's back. Okay. I had lost my internet. It's back.
Oh, okay. Very good, Dr. Freeman. So I don't know if you heard that we are voting on the dates of our board meetings. Is action item 8.5.
Thank you.
Dr. Freeman, you may have to log out and then log back in to be fully in.
Okay.
I didn't mean log out of Google Meet. I meant log out of IC Board.
Yeah.
Whoops. Dr. Freeman, I didn't mean log out of Google Meet. I meant log out of IC Board and then log back into that. You're muted, Dr. Freeman.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Freeman. And action item 8.5 has been approved 5-0. And we have our board meetings for this coming year. The next action item is 8.6, appointment. Is our appointing our superintendent as secretary to the Board of Trustees.
So
Do
moved.
I have a motion? Mr. Nelson, second.
Second.
Dr. Freeman is the second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Now we are going to vote, please, on IC, on the IC board. Action item 8.6 has been approved 5-0, and Mr. Bennett has been appointed as the secretary to this Board of Trustees. Congratulations, Mr. Bennett. Thank you. Action item 8.7, certification of signatures. Do I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second. Go ahead, Mr. Stafford with the first. I'll take the second.
Trustee Stafford with the first and Mr. Nelson with the second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Now we are going to vote, please, on IC.
And this is the form that we'll be bringing around to get everybody to sign.
Okay. 8.7 has been approved 5-0. Our next item, 8.8, action item also, designation of authorized agent. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I second.
Trustee Vallejo, thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Now we are going to vote. And 8.8 has been approved 5-0, a designation of the authorized agent. Next item, please. Item 9.1 is a recess. We are going to recess the regular board meeting of the Perris Union High School District to go into the California Military Institute Charter School, and we recess at 5:13 p.m. So at this time, we are going to switch to the California
You stay in this meeting on the picture, but we only switch on the electronic school board.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Ms. Spencer, can you let me know when we are, all of us, we are on the IC board for CMI?
You guys are all logged in.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. I call to order the California Military Institute board meeting for today, December 16, 2020 at 5:14 p.m. We go to the next item. It's an action item 3.1, revision and adoption of the agenda for today, December 16.
So moved.
Trustee Nelson, Dr. Freeman, all in favor, say aye.
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 Now we are going to vote on IC. And the agenda for today's meeting has been approved 5-0. Item 4.1 is an information item. CMITA President Mitchell Osborne. Is Mr. Osborne here?
I don't believe he's here.
All right, it doesn't seem like he's here. Okay, then we are going to move to the next item. Is 4.2, the principals update.
Good evening, Dr. Aru, and congratulations on your appointment for this year. Look forward to working with you. And thank you, Mr. Stafford, for your leadership in the past year. And thank you all the cabinet members. And I just want to extend a warm welcome to Trustee Vallejo. Welcome aboard. Good evening, Superintendent and Cabinet. My report is going to be very brief this evening. It really comes down to the fact that I'm so proud of our staff. What they have been able to accomplish this semester was a lot of hard work. But as we come to the end of this semester, we took inventory of our families, and a number of them, as you can imagine, were hurting considerably more than last year. And I just appeal to our staff to see what we can do for them, aside from what we ordinarily do in terms of collecting toys and clothing and so on and so forth. And I'm just amazed at the generosity of our staff. I will just show you a very quick, only one slide of what they were able to do in just a short period of time, where I had I don't know if you're able to see that. If just let me know. These are the cards that came in, but CMI staff was able to raise over $2,000 to help the needy families in the community. And what you see here on this slide, I couldn't get it all in one shot, but those are just some of the thank you cards that came in over the last couple of days, just thanking our staff for their generosity. We've had literally families, some families crying, and they were so grateful for some of the gifts that they received, as for many of them, those were the only gifts that they will be receiving this Christmas. So again, I just want to say what amazing staff we work with, and how grateful I am to be able to be part of this amazing district, and to be able to lead an amazing school like CMI at a difficult time like this. And I just want to wish you all happy holidays and a better and prosperous 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Milosavljevic. We appreciate your report. So we are going to go to the next item. And that is 5.1, invitation to address the Board of Trustees on non-agendized items.
No comments this evening, Dr. Rouse.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bennett. 6.1 is the consent calendar, and it is an action item. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Freeman and Trustee Stafford.
No.
I'm sorry.
Trustee Nelson.
Yeah, it was me.
Nelson.
Trustee
Yeah.
Nelson.
I had the second.
Yeah.
Trustee Nelson the second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Now we are going to vote on the IC board. And the consent calendar for today's meeting has been approved 5-0. The next item, 6.2, is also an action item. And there are the minutes of the regular board meeting of the California Military Institute for our last meeting, November 18, 2020. Do I have a motion?
Sorry.
Mr. President, on my IC board, it's already gone up to 7.1. I just want to make sure we're not voting on the wrong thing here.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
if we look into that.
Am I the only one on 7.1?
No, I'm on there also.
Dr. Rouse, those are all consent calendar items, 6.2, 6.3.
Oh,
On
yes,
six-
I'm sorry. Yes, consent calendar covers all the sixes.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
perfect. Thank you, Mr. Nelson, and thank you, Mr.
That's fine. I
Bennett.
just wanted to make sure we weren't looking at the wrong thing here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now I'm looking at 7.1 is an action item. Personnel, certificated personnel action items. We have a motion.
So moved.
I
Second.
second.
Trustee Nelson and Trustee Vallejo. All in favor, say aye.
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 And now we are going to vote on IC. Action item 7.1 has been approved 5-0. The next item 7.2. It is an action item also, curriculum. Middle school history, social science textbook adoption, funded through the Federal CARES Act Learning Loss Mitigation Fund in the amount of $119,599, not the general fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee
Second.
Staff, Trustee Freeman. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Now we are going to vote on IC. And action item 7.2 has been approved 5-0. The next item 7.3 is also an action item, curriculum, approval of the local control funding formula budget overview for parents for the 2021 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Freeman and Trustee Stafford, all in favor? Aye.
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 And we are going to vote on IC. 7.3 has been approved 5-0. Next action item 7.3 is 8.1. It's an information item, other items by our superintendent, Mr. Grant Bennett.
The only thing I have, a couple weeks ago, I got to go over and see mine, walk the campus with Mr. Milosavljevic, getting to see the new construction that's going on, and just driving down A Street today. It looks so great out in front of that school now. It's beautiful. A Street's widened all the way through there. We have the new drop-off zone ready, and the gym will be ready in the next few months here. And it's going to be a brand new school over there, and going to be really great for their kids in that community in Perris. That's all I have this evening, Dr. Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. We are going to go to the next item, that is 9.1. Other items by the Board of Trustees. And we are going to start Ms. Elizabeth Vallejo.
Need to
Sorry.
unmute yourself.
Yeah, I got it. Hi, hello. I don't know what we're supposed to say here. I'm like, is it anything or anything in particular, or just specifically for the CMI section?
Yes, is any comments related to CMI?
Yes.
I would love to see it. So Bennett, we have to find a day because I haven't seen that school in years, like so many years. So I do want to see how it is developing. So that's something that I am very interested in.
You're very welcome. We would love to see you.
Thank you, Trustee Vallejo. Let me see, Dr. Freeman.
Nothing from me. Just I want to wish Dr. Nick and his staff and all the students a wonderful holiday season. And let's all just decompress. No stress. No stress.
Yes.
Not depressed. We don't want to get depressed. Decompress. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Freeman.
Thank you,
Let me see what we have on the screen. I want to establish a list like President Stafford did last time. Let me see who I'm seeing next. Trustee Stafford.
I just would like to say it's been a pleasure working with you all during my first term on the board. It's really been great, all your events, and I'll see you again as soon as we get back. And also, I'm looking to see that new gym. So,
Absolutely.
and it really, it really touches my heart that your staff came up with $2,000. That is, for a small school like yours, it really is a big accomplishment, plus the other gifts and things. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Trustee Stafford. Trustee Nelson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I also would like to thank you, Mr. Milosevich, for everything he's done this year. I know it's been a rough year all around, and I would like to congratulate your staff for collecting that much money for the families in need in the community. That's awesome to hear. I also am I'm patiently awaiting the gym being completed, and I did go up A Street yesterday when I was in Perris, and I saw the widening of it as well. It looks awesome, and I can't wait for that school to be completed. So I'm looking forward to being able to do that in person. So that's it for me, and Merry Christmas and whatever you guys celebrate going forward.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Trustee Nelson. And I just want to say thank you to Mr. Milosavec and to all the staff at CMI for the wonderful job that you have been doing there and for supporting our community. Right. Also, I want to say welcome officially to our new board member, Ms. Elizabeth Vallejo. Congratulations and welcome to our district. Trustee Stafford, thank you very much for your service as a president during the last year. It was a really wonderful job. So thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you. You're welcome.
And lastly, I want to wish everybody at CMI, all the staff members, administrators, happy holidays, that you enjoy this season that is filled with peace and happiness, and most importantly, that everybody is healthy. Right? Take care of yourselves, and also a happy new year, 2021.
Likewise. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we are going to go to the other next item. That is adjournment. It's an action item.
So moved.
Trustee Nelson, second. Who's second?
Second.
Trustee Stafford. All in favor, say aye.
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 Now we are going to vote on IC. Action item 10.1 has been approved 5-0, and the meeting of CMI is adjourned at 5:28 p.m. Thank you, everybody. So now we stay here on this meeting, a virtual meeting. We are just going to switch on ICD to the regular board meeting. Perfect. Thank you. Welcome back to the regular board meeting of the Perris Union High School District. And we reconvene to this meeting at 5:29 p.m. We are going to continuing with this meeting. The next action item is 10.1, revision and adoption of the agenda for today's meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Stafford. Is second.
Second.
Dr. Freeman. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Now we are going to vote.
Sorry, I had connectivity issues. I have to log out, log back in.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you.
There we go. You're good. We're good now.
Perfect. The agenda for today's meeting has been approved 5-0. our next item. 11.1 is an information item, report out of closed session.
No report out of closed session today, Dr. Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. The next item is district update by our superintendent, Mr. Graham Bennett.
Well, the first thing I'd like to do is I want to recognize a couple of people that have done some great things for our district. I'm going to start with our board member, former board member, Edward Garcia. We want to thank Edward for his 4 years of service to the Perris Union High School District. You know, Edward had a keen eye for security. He was a driving force in some changes we made within the security of our district. He made us a better school district by some of his recommendations. And you always knew that Edward really truly cares about students and staff. That was a huge part of what he tried to do with us. You know, we miss you and we wish you the best of luck in the future, Edward. And I want to show you, I'll get you this award, Edward. Is it going to show up? So on the award, it says, in appreciation for your dedicated service to the students and staff of the Perris Union High School District, Edward D. Garcia, Jr. So thank you, Edward, for what you did for our district. Did you want to say anything, Edward, real quick?
Sure. You know I like to talk. Actually, I want to thank everybody. It's been an amazing 4 years of my life. Perris, you're always going to be family. To my ex-colleagues, you guys are amazing too. You know, and congratulations, Miss, how do you say it? Vallejo?
Vallejo.
Yeah.
Vallejo. Congratulations. And I know you have some aspirations, and I'm more than willing to connect with you and help you achieve those aspirations. And everybody else, keep up the great work. In Perris, I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Merry Christmas. The next person I'd like to recognize is he's our outgoing president from last year, Mr. Tony Stafford. Tony, we thank you for your leadership as the board president in 2019-2020. Your commitment to the students and staff always shines through. You're always looking out what's best for those kids and our workers into schools with your keen eye as an ex-fire chief. You led our board through a difficult time with the COVID pandemic that's come up, and you really kept us in line where we need to move forward with. So we have a couple things for you, Tony. We're going to be getting to you. We have the plaque from the school district, and it says, wow, in appreciation for your service as president of the Board of Trustees, Perris Union High School District 2020. The other thing is you get this gavel, Tony, that it's wrapped up for you. It has the dates and being showing you being president. So thank you for the great work you did last year, Tony. And we know you're going to do great things over the next 4 years being reelected. So thank you very much.
Thank you, yeah, thank you, Mr. Bennett. I just wanted to say, Edward, it's been a pleasure working with you the last 4 years, and we will certainly stay in contact. You have taught me quite a few things about security, and that it was always, it just was so important, you know, that the points that you got across, and all other issues also. But thank you all for letting me serve and be able to continue to serve. And it's great to be here. And congratulations to our new board member. It's you get the hang of it real quick. Seems like you have already. So thank you.
Good. Thank you, Tony.
Okay.
I also, she's on here, but I'm going to talk about her. Diane Martin has been doing a great job over a long number of years. She helped support more than 46 families in the Perris Union High School District, and including CMI during this holiday season by getting donations, where we'll be able to, families that are struggling a little bit and having a hard time. She puts us to task as administrators and staff members to collect gifts and food and all different items to be able to give to these families. She has it set up where each family is going to get a holiday basket. And we've had people adopt families to be able to get them all they needed. You know, the kids some gifts that they wanted and some food for the family to work through the holidays on. This Friday, she's having a drive-through pickup over at the student center between 10 and 2, where the families could come there and they pick up their gift basket for the holidays. Also, a special thing, I know Milo's talked about it. To the CMI team, he talked about the money they raised, but Teresa Gonzalez and Lorraine Turner were the ones that helped to organize and collect all those donations for families over at CMI. So we were proud of those. And that's a classified member and a teacher over there that were working on that. And Diane wanted to make sure to give special thanks to her elves, her Santa's elves, Pam Scott, a retired classified member of our district, and Diane's mom, Helga Martin. They've been wrapping gifts over there for the past 15 years. So they're year after year, and they're not even part of our district. They're part of our district, but not employees of our district. And we also want to thank all the people that helped adopt some of those families and give the kids some joy here at a special time of year. And it's been tough on the kids with the pandemic and everything also. So this is maybe a bright spot for their family and for them. So Dan, I want to say thank you on behalf of the Perris Union High School District for what you've done with these families. I'm not going to let you talk, Diane, because I know it'll go too long. And the final thing I had to share this evening was a cool thing coming out of our nutrition services department. You know, they've been serving these meals on Thursdays and Fridays for families for a long time now, since March 13th, the day that'll live in infamy, right? But they've been serving meals to the families all along. This week, they're doing something really special. They've got platters now, and they made cookies, and they're giving each family that comes to pick up the food some holiday cookies and a really nice tray with things on it. So I want to thank Audrey and Rick and their whole team for what they did over there. Did I hit it up right, Candace?
Yeah, you did, but since you passed it over to me, yeah, we're really excited. We serve a lot of younger kids, so cookies with Santa, that's going to be really fun for them. And then backing up to Thanksgiving, we also did something special there where we partnered with Farmers to Families, and every family that came through got a giant food box, full of dairy products and meats and you name it. So our families have been really appreciative of those extra efforts, and like Mr. Bennett, I'm very proud of nutrition services.
And the last thing I have is it's kind of a personal thing. Last weekend would have been the Perris holiday parade, and they had to cancel because of COVID. And I'm sitting in my office here right behind me in my closet, I have the Santa costume that I was going to be riding in the parade again. I may have to break it out on the last day of school to wander around campuses, and maybe I'll go into the cohorts that are showing up at the schools and give them a surprise. But hopefully next year we get back to some normalcy and have these great events, because our students are missing out on that. Also, our bands are always in the parades, our ROTC programs are always in the parades, and they just didn't get that chance this year. And so we're hoping for better things into the next school year. And that would conclude my report for this evening, Dr. Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. We are going to move to our next item on the agenda, 11.3, PSEA President, Mr. Jason Miller. Is Mr. Miller here tonight?
He sent in his video. We'll get it.
Oh, perfect.
Congratulations to Mr. Nellison, Mr. Stafford, and Ms. Vallejo as our PUHSD trustees for the next 4 years. I look forward to working with you all to carry on the stellar reputation that PUHSD has as an educational district. It is the holidays, my favorite time of the year, and I hope you all, both the board and cabinet, have a joyous holiday. It is lights season, and Christmas lights are basically a Hollywood production at our house. As we close out 2020, I reflect on the work that has occurred this year to educate our students in a pandemic. Educators and students have had to become proficient in technology in a big way. It seems like every week there is some new law or guidance or policy that comes from the state or county or just in society with this pandemic that leads us to figure out how we are going to navigate each new twist in this roller coaster. There have been a lot of changes to our workplace in the classroom since this whole thing started. Many of these changes have been driven by outside influences. I am glad that the cabinet and board have recognized that when new policies are made, many times it is our teachers and other employees that have to live with it for better or for worse. It is the employees that have to carry out the reality of decisions that are made at the district level. The PUHSD cabinet and board have been superb in crafting policies by and large that have attempted to not place undue burdens on employees. When we crafted how it was all going to go down for virtual learning in July, one of the big priorities for PSEA was flexibility and teacher's choice. Teachers have so many varied programs, it is not necessarily good for our students to have a one-size-fits-all canned approach to this pandemic. I have heard of other districts try and do this with not so great results, sometimes even backpedaling results. But our district got it right early on, and for that I'm appreciative. I hope that the board and cabinet continue to make healthy, safe, and wise decisions as we enter second semester. It is also my hope that the staff, students, and administrators that have worked tirelessly to learn a whole new world of virtual learning during this very trying semester will be able to rest and enjoy the holidays during the next 3 weeks. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Okay, thank you to Mr. Jason Miller for his excellent message to our district. We are going to move to our next item, 11.4. And let me see, is our CSEA President, Josh Rushing. Is Josh here tonight? No, I'm not seeing him. Okay, so we are going to, Mr. Bennett, I can hear you. You're muted, Mr. Bennett.
Mr. Rushing isn't logged into the meeting, so we don't have a report from him this evening.
You don't have a report for me. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, let me go. The next item, comments by our Board of Trustees. We are going to go with the same pattern that we had a few minutes ago. Ms. Trustee Elizabeth Vallejo.
Hi, well, I just wanted to introduce myself. So yeah, hi, my name is Elizabeth Rejo, and I'm very excited to be here with you guys. All of you guys are very welcoming, and I thank you all so much, for someone new to come and to learn all these new things. It'll be a great experience, and I know I am in great hands, so thank you guys all so much. And I know I have big shoes to fill, so don't worry, you guys. I will not let you guys down. I am here to learn. I'm here to grind. I'm here to do everything, and for the students and for the community. And I hope you can all be good friends too. And I love you guys. And happy holidays.
Thank you, Trustee Vallejo. Trustee Freeman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to address this to our new board member and to the others who need to hear this as well. Elizabeth, we have a tendency to use acronyms. Acronyms that we are familiar with, but you may not be. I will ask our board members to be realizing this for the next few months so that when we use an acronym, we say what it is. And if we missed or you need clarification, don't be afraid to ask in the middle of the meeting. And for everybody, I want to wish you, I'm going to say it. Let's see. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Boxing Day, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Freeman. Trustee Stafford.
I'd just like to welcome Mr. Vallejo to the board. And I'm so glad Dr. Freeman brought that up because that is kind of one of the stumbling blocks that it is the stumbling block you first come across because things move rather quickly. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Thank you for letting me serve. If there's anything I can do for anybody, let me know. And I'm just a phone call away. So please enjoy your holidays and your families, and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Stafford. Trustee Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to start as well by welcoming Ms. Vallejo to the board. Congratulations on your election, and I hope you're able to hit the ground running on this, because it makes our board stronger. And the faster you get up to speed, we'll be humming right along as soon as we can. And just welcome you here. I was going to say a few words to Mr. Garcia, but he left the meeting. But I'll just put this out into the ether, and hopefully he'll pick it up somewhere along the way. It was a privilege to work with him for the last 4 years. Like Mr. Stafford said, he always had an eye for all the security issues, because that's what he does for a living. But he was always like our voice of reason for security issues and questions. We always essentially looked to him for the expertise, because he was the one that we knew was in the field. So he always had a heart for what was best for the kids, and I really appreciate that. And we'll miss him, but like I said, Ms. Vallejo, you're more than welcome to jump in there and catch up to speed, and like I said, we'll be moving right along. I would also like to say Merry Christmas to everybody, and thank you for all this, everything you do, all the employees, all the administration, classified, certificated, everybody. We really appreciate everything you've been doing for the kids. Even though we may not be face to face with the kids, you guys have been doing an awesome job, and I really appreciate that. And I hope you guys have a nice break and have a Happy New Year, and we will see you guys in 2021.
Thank you, Trustee Nelson. I also want to say thank you to Mr. Ed for his excellent job that he did, Mr. Ed Garcia, during the 4 years as a board member. We really appreciate all his input. As Mr. Nelson said, and his great ideas in terms of safety and security, with the main objective of ensuring the safety of our staff and our students. So thank you for your service to our community, to our students, to our district. And thank you also. He was board president for a year, did an outstanding job. So thank you, Mr. Garcia. I want to welcome Ms. Elizabeth Vallejo. Congratulations. And we are looking forward to working with you. I know that you have a lot to bring to our Board of Education, and our students and our community are going to benefit with you as a board member of this wonderful district. Welcome. Also, I want to say thank you to Mr. Stafford for being president for the last year. You did a wonderful job, and we really appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Stafford. I want to make one more comment. Diane, Mr. Bennett talked and mentioned about the excellent things that you have been doing during this season. And besides that, I know that you are handle a lot of things. Even here during the board meetings, we get information about the programs that you are coordinating. And when we go to different meetings, to RCOE, if it's about compensatory education, Diane is there, right? Providing input. About English learners, Diane is there also, getting ideas and supporting and sharing with other districts her experience. So thank you for all the excellent job that you're doing. And I remember also even the robotics program, right? Like a few years ago, you were coordinating that. So thank you, Diane. Thank you. And we are really glad to have you here in our district. Also, I want to say thank you and wish happy holidays to all the members, to all the staff of Perris Union High School District. I know that this semester, well, even part of last semester, has been very difficult, but all the staff members, classified, certificated, and our teachers, you have been up to the challenge. You have been there for our students. You have been supporting them, And I cannot find words to show my appreciation and thank you for the hard work and the excellent job that you have been doing with our students. So I wish that during this season is filled of peace, joy, health, and I wish all of you happy New Year 2021. So we got into,
Mr.
go ahead.
Stafford, did Mr. Stafford get a turn?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I drew a blank. Sorry.
yeah, he did,
Okay.
right?
I was thinking
Okay.
I didn't hear Randy, but I did. So,
Yeah, it was,
okay.
it was Ms. Vallejo, Mr. Freeman,
Okay.
Mr. Safford, and then Mr. Nelson.
Mhm.
Okay, I want to make sure. Thank you, Mr. Bennett, for double checking. I appreciate it. Okay, so that was the next item, information item 12.1, invitation to a board to address the Board of Trustees on non-agendized items. Do we have any takers, Mr. Bennett? Or anybody?
We have one comment, public comment. Mr. Williams will read that into record.
Okay.
So the public comment on non-agenda items. This first one is from Casey Ago. And she wrote, I just wanted to know what your plans are for grades because the way it's looking for students did not do as well as they usually do if the school were regularly, and it would be unfair to have them fail during a global pandemic. That concludes her comments.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, for reading the comment from the community member. And the next item, please. Is an action item, 13.1 is our consent calendar. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Nelson and Trustee Freeman, all in favor? Aye.
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 Now we are going to vote electronically. The consent calendar for this meeting has been approved 5-0. The next item, please. It's an information item 14.1 curriculum, distance learning, and COVID-19 update.
Well, first off, I want to say good afternoon, President Oral and the Board of Trustees. Also want to extend a welcome to our newest board member, Trustee Vallejo. Just want to say congratulations and welcome. This is a time in our board meeting that we review today specifically are just some updates in regards to distance learning. And so at this time, Emil Alzabetti, he'll be loading our presentation at this time to kind of get us set up, ready to go. And so today what we want to do is bring back to you some of the numbers as it relates to COVID and kind of update the board in regards to how the atmosphere is looking out there. In addition to that, we will also provide some updates in regards to the cohorts that we promised to bring back to you as well as we've had the last few weeks with the pilot to take place. And then also we have Mr. Bruff with us. He'll join, talk a little bit about some of the social emotional supports that we have planned for next semester as well. Okay. So at this time, we'll go to the next slide and we'll get rocking and rolling. So you can go to the next slide, Emil. And so this is the look in regards to the COVID cases. And I'm sure by now everyone's hearing the news in regards to what's taking place. There have been significant increases in regards to COVID lately. And so this slide just highlights on a global scale how the cases are looking. And so the top right-hand corner, you'll see that the United States is number one. Kind of we share that information. And then each one of the squares kind of highlights what that specific increase has been over the past week since December 8th, which was the last time we sent the information over to you. And so December 8th, we have the global cases, and the increase over this past week has been 5.7 million, almost 5.8 million increase in regards to the number of people that currently have COVID. And in addition, actually, that's on a global scale, but then also the U.S. cases down below where it identifies specifically in the U.S. is 1.7 million. That has been the current increase in the number of people who currently have COVID. To the right, the December 8th date kind of identifies what the U.S. The number of people who have passed away as a result of COVID, and that increase over the past week has been 19,700 people that we've lost due to COVID. Next slide. This number highlights are just locally, kind of going back down to Riverside County, and top right-hand corner says Riverside County is currently 9th. I want to say the last time we were together, at one time we were 13th, and we dropped to, I think we dropped to 12th in terms of all the counties in the U.S. But now at this particular time, we drop it down to 9th. So this is not the list that we want to drop down to number 1 on, but we're moving in the wrong direction in terms of the number of confirmed COVID cases that we currently have now in Riverside County. And so down at the bottom, you'll see the current confirmed cases is 123,715. And Emil, can you move that little bar just a little bit? Probably not, but I think, there we go. So December 8th, confirmed cases was 100. See the 100,000. The increase over the past week has been 23,000. That's okay. Now you're good. The increase has been 23,000. And basically the way that's showing up on our indicators, if you turn over to go to the next slide, Emil, for the tiers. And so right now our adjusted rate, you see that adjusted rate now is at 65. And I don't think any of us could have imagined that we would ever see a number that big in regards to the adjusted rate. And that's 65 per 100,000 in terms of the number of people that currently have COVID or that tested for COVID, positive for COVID. The next one is the positivity rate. Actually, I'm sorry, that's the daily new cases that we currently have, 65 in 100,000. And then to the right, you see the current rate is at 18.5%. That's the positivity rate. What's interesting is that if you look at each one of those numbers and you compare them to the fact that at one time we were in the red just a few months ago. So for instance, and that adjusted rate at one time was down to 5, and now it's at 65, and at 18.5 for the actual positivity rate was at one point in time between 5.5 and 8%. So that just shows you how dramatically those numbers have jumped over the past few weeks and months. And we're really seeing the result of multiple, I think whether we're looking at the elections, then you're looking at Thanksgiving, and you're looking at multiple situations that are taking place. And for us, considering that Christmas is coming up next and New Year's Eve is coming up next, we very likely will see numbers that are even that may grow larger than even the numbers we're currently looking at right now. You go to the next slide, Emil. This number right here, we highlighted kind of on this particular slide what we wanted to highlight because this number is showing up this week. I mean, a few weeks ago, President Rao, you asked about the health equity quartile. That was something that you was concerned about in terms of how is this impacting our low-income communities. And this week it jumped up on the scale in regards to that it is higher. And so that's the number that we're concerned about. I think the next slide is going to kind of add a little more clarity to, how is it, what's leading into that number, what's driving that number. As we look at our local community data, you'll begin to see some of that information that's driving that number in terms of the difference that we're seeing in that healthy equity quartile positivity rate. Next slide. And so this is our local community. And as I was saying with the that healthy quartile rate, I mean, if you look at our communities, we highlighted the areas that we saw that we experienced the greatest jumps over the past week. And so if you look at, in particular, if you look at Good Hope, they had an increase of 190 in terms of COVID cases. And then Meade Valley, they're looking at an increase of 400. Those are some big numbers, in particular because those communities are connected, off of Lake Elsinore Road. It drives right. It connects that's almost one community together. The way it's set up, they're right next to each other. They blend together. But those numbers were some astronomical numbers that we saw when we were looking at the data to kind of highlight. I know the board asked specifically, you wanted to look at specific data to our community. It's one thing to look at Riverside County. It's a whole different perspective to look at specifically what's taking place in our local area as it relates to COVID. And then we'll go to the next slide. And then this is just with the regional stay-at-home order. This was, I'm sure the board is familiar. This has been added over the past few weeks where we're looking at kind of ICU availability. And so we've kind of identified the 5 regions here for you, and then also highlighted those 5 regions in regards to what the ICU capacity is currently looking like. And so Northern California, you see where they're at. You see where the Bay Area is at, and then the greater Sacramento, as well as San Joaquin Valley. And in Southern California, where we're currently at 1.7% ICU availability. And so in regards to our local area, whereas Riverside County ICU capacity now is basically at 0% at this particular time. And so that is just a very telling story in regards to the impact that it's having on the ground level with our local hospitals in terms of servicing and supporting just our community. And so that's the impact that we're having. And I'm sure that's driving the work, regarding the regional stay-at-home order. I was thinking when they initially did this, if you look over to the left and you see Southern California, and we were lumped in with LA and these other big counties, I was assuming these other big counties, I was thinking just because we're in LA County, maybe that's why we're part of this. But no, in our local area, our ICUs have been greatly impacted. And so as the board is making decisions, I know the board wanted to have this information in front of you as you're making decisions, as you're considering what we're doing in the future. This helps kind of inform your decisions as we move forward. And that's what this process was about today in regards to our specific numbers. If you go to the next slide. And are there any questions about that? Because what we're going to do now is we're going to have Emil Al-Zubaydi, our Director of Special Education, Dr. Cassandra McNair, our coordinator of special education. They're going to be presenting on just giving a brief update in regards to the cohorts that we had going. We piloted cohorts specifically. Our determination was to go very small, to do only to kind of make sure we work out our individual procedures and protocols before we expand. So we wanted to bring an update back to you in regards to how things went over the past few weeks. But before we moved on, I want to see if there's any other questions, or would you like us to continue to move along in the presentation?
No questions for me.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. If we're good, President Arau, we'll hand it over to Emil.
No questions. Just continue with the presentation.
Sounds good. Okay. All right, Emil and Dr. McNair, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Newman. Can you hear me?
Thumbs up. You're good.
Okay. So let's recap a little bit in terms of our 3 pilot cohorts that we had. Our first cohort was at Paloma Valley High School. It was with our mod severe students. You'll see in the photos that we socially distanced our students. We made sure we did temperature checks. The resolving impact of our cohort was very positive, very, very positive. The students felt very much safe. They felt comfortable. They felt like it was a sense of normalcy was back in play for them from that standpoint. We did have a situation where one of our students was potentially positive for COVID, and so we did shut down that cohort. And we'll talk more about kind of next steps as we go through the process with the board from that standpoint. And we had 11 students that were attending at that time. Again, very, very positive in terms of the reports and the engagement and how the students felt about coming to school again. Then we take a look at our program at Heritage High School. Again, you'll see that we had temperature checks. And this was an agency that we brought on board called Think Together that came out, and we were supporting our English language learners and our mild to moderate special ed students. And you'll see they were socially distant. They were engaged. The responses that we got from Think Together was very, very positive. The students were very engaged. They felt a sense of normalcy again and felt very much at home in that sense from that standpoint of being back in school and being with their colleagues and their peers. And of course, we had our program at Perris High School with our newcomer students. And again, socially distanced, we checked the temperature checks, we did all the processes. We had 12 students in the program, very positive, a sense of feeling, when are we gonna look at bringing more kids on was the messaging that we got from our families from that standpoint. So again, very, very positive all the way around. And I'll turn it over to Dr. McNair.
So one of the things that we talked about at previous school board meetings was ensuring that there was some kind of checks and balances as it relates to what is actually plan something and what we plan, what it looks like is something completely different. Well, so, we implemented this cohort daily checklist that would be completed by the site administration at every single site. And there were just, 5 questions that were asked to the site administrator, and it's kind of small, so I'll read them. One of the questions was asking, was the cohort staff using the non-touch thermometers to check student temperatures? The next one was, were the cohort staff wearing face coverings? Were the students wearing face coverings? was the cohort staff using the appropriate PPE when working with students, face shields, gowns, gloves, shoe coverings, things like that. Were the designated restrooms being used? And then also they could note any additional comments if there was something out of the ordinary that day, or if they just wanted us to know something. And so on the next slide, you'll see the results of the cohort daily checklist. And you can see 100% of the time, what we asked was actually happening when inspected by the site administration. And I think that that's absolutely excellent, because that means that our protocols were clear, our administrators were clear, our students and families were clear, and the processes that we put in place were actually followed. And there weren't any additional comments, which is why they don't appear here on this slide.
And before we move on, Dr. McNair and I and Dr. Newman really wanted to send a huge shout out to all of our staff members and our teachers that were running the cohorts. They did a phenomenal job. Our administrators at the sites did a phenomenal job, and our families did a phenomenal job. I mean, our families were telling our teachers, we are intentionally keeping our students at home. We do not want them out and about. We want to make sure that they can still come to school and keep everybody safe. And that being said, when we take a look at key considerations for January, so with your permission, we're looking at considering resuming pilot cohorts when school returns in January of 2021, pending board approval. For the January board meeting, we will present data to consider cohort expansion and a potential expansion of specialized cohort pilot programs at Pentecostal Middle School, California Military Institute, and the Pathways for Adult Learning, or PALS. And so this would be our next steps in looking at expanding the cohorts with your permission from that standpoint.
And of course, we're, as I shared earlier, as we looked at the data, a lot of that is contingent upon what the next several weeks look like, what I'm saying, in regards to if we are going to move forward with the cohorts or not. And so what we want to do over the break, probably the first week of January, we'll make sure we send you an updated report in regards to the data. By then, we should see some of the effects from, if there are effects from winter break, from Christmas, as well as from New Year's Eve and all the potential New Year's Eve celebrations that may transpire. Within a week after that, we should get some updated information to send it to you, so we can all even consider if that's a direction that we would like to go in or not.
Thank you, Dr. Newman.
At this time, we'll hand it over to Emil. Emil, actually, he's presenting with Bob at this time, so we'll hand it over to Mr. Bruff and Emil.
Thank you, Dr. Newman. Hello, President Raux and the board. It's wonderful to be with you all. If we could go to the next slide, please, Emil. We wanted to give you, I believe you asked for some attendance updates. Given the numbers that Dr. Newman covered, you can imagine the challenges that our students and our families are enduring right now. We normally look at attendance in terms of average daily attendance, and we've been reporting out to you for years. And under normal daily attendance, if a student attends at least one period a day, they've attended school for the day. And that usually means if they go, they attend all the classes. They might miss a period for a doctor's appointment or a dental appointment. But we really felt that we needed to take a really fresh and new approach to attendance under this challenging time that we're all experiencing. I'd like to thank Kerry Bobbitt. He's such a phenomenal person with data. He was able to run a different kind of report for us and actually look at student seat time. And we think that that's a much more telling vantage point. We now have one semester of distance learning as a baseline to kind of go off of. So on the next slide, we have some school by school data, but I wanted you to know that this is not the average daily attendance. Those numbers would be much higher in the 90s like they normally are. Students are daily, usually attending a class or two. Quite often they're attending all of them, but students are challenged and they may be staying up late, sleeping and missing early classes, or they have some obligation. Many of our students were finding, Diane Martin has done many work permits, and kids are we know anecdotally that kids are helping in various ways to support their family. I heard from one AP today that a whole family was stricken with COVID. the children were asymptomatic, but the parents were frightfully ill. And so, of course, for about 2 weeks, the students took care of their parents. Well, these are heroic children that we have in our district, but of course, they didn't attend a lot of classes for those, or maybe they attended a first period and missed the next period because they were tending to mom or dad. We could go on and on with these stories, but we thought that this is a much better lens to look at the time kids were actually in their seats for class rather than the traditional average daily attendance. You see there as a whole district, we are at 79.4%. California Military Institute did very well at 86, Heritage at 80%, Paloma at 84, Pinacati at 75, and Perris High School at 71. Now, Perris is the lowest there, but if you think about the information that Dr. Newman gave you and highlighted certain areas, you see some real correlation there, that their attendance in school is lowest. I see President Rauch shaking his head. Yeah, there's a real correlation, right? That, but their COVID numbers are the highest, and they're our most at-risk families. So, you know, our schools have done a heroic job of outreach. Our assistant principals in particular have made home visits, wearing safety masks and, you know, stepping back 10 or 12 feet, but actually showing up. They have really gone above and beyond. I just met with assistant principals over attendance. We now have this as a baseline, and of course, we now want to see if second semester, depending on how long we go with distance learning, if we can improve these numbers. But we now have an accurate, again, baseline to begin looking at what attendance really looks like under these trying times. I'm going to move to the next slides on social emotional, but before I do that, Mr. Alzabady, if you want to stay there, are there any questions about attendance numbers or the lens that we're looking at it through at this point? No?
No questions at this time, Mr. Roth.
Okay, thank you, President Rauch. So along with the numbers that we're looking at, we know that our students are struggling emotionally, and I want to thank particularly our ERM specialist, Mr. Alzabady, who worked to develop a suicide prevention lesson. We also worked in concert with the union to make sure they were comfortable with what they were delivering. We did a voiceover lesson, and you know, Mr. Alzabady has a great expertise in this because he's a licensed psychologist, therapist, and the approach was to provide information as if you were helping a friend. Well, we know when we approach it in this way, that's what doctors suggest. That's the kindest way to approach it. But students are also hearing, if I myself am feeling these things, they get the information too. I will tell you that I received a very touching call this week from a father that wanted to ask what was the lesson, what was particularly the lesson, because his child opened up to him after seeing this lesson in his school and shared with his father that he was having some real depression. That child has now been getting some therapy, some counseling, and the dad was so thankful, and he really believed and shared with me that his child would not have opened up if this lesson had not taken place. So I'm very truly proud of the work that we did in this, and I want to thank everyone involved. I'm sure there were many more kids. The impetus and the main point of this is to reach out for help. And if you go to the next slide, Mr. Alzabady, please. We provided all the lifelines, all the support. These were under resources and other things. There's links to other mental health supports in the area. There's the Care Solace line to get ongoing therapy. So we're very, very thankful that we are providing this resource for our kids. And
Mr. Bruff, if I can interject very quickly on this slide, the notion also of our social work interns and our interns that we brought on from Cal Baptist University as well from San Marcos have truly been a huge support for our students and our families. Our teachers are using those referrals. We are seeing students on a rate that is just unfortunately unbelievable in a sense from that standpoint. But we're so thankful that we have that support here that can support our students and support our families.
yeah, and these are interns who are really stepping up, and they're checking on these kids weekly or bi-weekly to make sure they're getting one-on-one personal follow-up. And we also need to give a huge shout out to all of our counselors who are, that dad in particular I spoke to said his counselor has been checking regularly with his son. We're just seeing heroic efforts from all of our employees. Next slide, please, Mr. Alzabady. So what do we look at for next semester? Well, we know that there's the California CASEL categories, and we know that these are the recommended areas to help students manage challenging times. And they're the areas of self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management, and responsible decision-making. So we're working to find meaningful lessons in each of these areas to give kids resiliency and coping skills as they, engage this difficult world that we're all struggling through. So this will be the real approach for next semester. And we have to, while we do all we can to strengthen their academic skills, we have to buoy them up emotionally and build their emotional resiliency as well. So this will be a real focus for next semester. Again, I want to thank everyone involved. And
Hey Bob,
yeah.
Bob, can you explain what KSL stands for the new board member, please?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. California Social Emotional Learning. So these are the 5 areas recommended. California, the Department of Education, got therapists, doctors, and had a study group, a think tank, if you will, on what are the areas of social emotional learning that students really need to thrive in. And these are the California social emotional learning categories. It's an excellent question. Thank you for it. So this will be the focus for next semester, and we hope to continue supporting our students.
So that concludes our update. We had a brief update. When we come back to you in January, we'll bring back additional data in regards to how the first semester went in regards to I know some grading data was requested. Once we get that, we'll bring that back to the board, as well as talk about some of the action steps we're taking for next semester as well to improve outcomes. Okay. So if there's actually at this time, we'll take any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you, Dr. Newman. Do you have any questions? Stafford, please.
Mr. Alzabady, you mentioned you did have one case, and I think that we had talked about this. If you had any difficulties, please let us know, as you have. Is it things going okay with that, or?
Absolutely, the student is doing very well, getting back on track. The student had mild symptoms in a sense from that standpoint.
Okay.
Thankfully, they're getting back. That student's getting back on track.
Yeah. Okay. So initially, because of the board asked us to take an abundance of caution, we actually, when we canceled, we did not have a case. We had a potential case. It was we were not at that time required to cancel. It was just that we had the potential from a parent saying this distant situation happened, there might be an issue, but because we had spoken with the board, we just figured let's just be safe over an abundance of caution. We canceled, and then probably about 7 days later, we found out that there was an issue with one of the students. But by that time, we were completely clear because we had canceled, and the students hadn't met together. I believe it was over 10 days until we found out that a kid had contracted something. So we were well beyond the safety distance in terms of spreading it and everything.
And the status now with that particular cohort is
that
so it's still closed.
Still closed, yes.
Okay. All right. Just want to hear the the ground floor of what's going on, so we're aware and not surprised. Because we don't expect the world to be perfect. So thank you for that information.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Mr. Stafford. Yes, sir.
Thank you for your question, Trustee Stafford, and thank you, Dr. Newman, for your answer. Any other questions from the other trustees? No? Okay, I don't have a question. I just have a comment, and I want to say thank you, first of all, to Dr. Newman for providing the information in terms of how COVID-19 is affecting the specific areas in our school district. So the board asked for that information previously, and you presented it to us, and that is really important so we can make educated decisions and understand the different situations and challenges that we are seeing, like Mr. Groff identified one of the correlations, right? And I remember here in Perris, right now is like 3,000, 5,000, I believe you mentioned. But 2 weeks ago, the increase from last week, December 8th to this week, it was like 1,500. But 2 weeks ago, it was in the 2,000s.
True.
So it more than doubled. So we can see the magnitude of the challenge that our students, that our community, that our parents are facing, and then we can determine how we can support it. And the other comment is I want to say thank you also for the focus on the social emotional support to our students. That was one of the main concerns when we had the discussion here at the board, during the board meeting, to go into distance learning. We wanted to ensure the curricular perspective, but also the social emotional safety of our students. So thank you for being proactive and providing the support to our students because they really need it. And we talk about supporting the most vulnerable members of our community and our society, and that's what we are doing. So my most sincere appreciation for that. Thank you, sir. Anything else in terms of this item, Dr. Newman?
That concludes our presentation.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. So let me go back to the IC board. And that is in the sync. Ms. Fetzner, I'm seeing item 5.1 on the IC board.
Yeah, I don't know what, let me, I'm not sure what's going on.
Oh, okay, thank you.
It's moved to the Capitol facilities.
Yeah, it is Wednesday, December 16, but it moved to the Capitol facilities.
Well, we have that. It's the third.
I think it should be correct now.
Okay. So this, okay, perfect. Thank you, Ms. Fessner. So our next action item is 15.1, is personnel, certificated personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Stafford, Trustee Nelson. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Now we are going to vote on the IC board. Okay. Action item 15.1 has been approved, 5-0. We're going to go to the next item. 15.2 is also an action item, classified personnel action item. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Stafford, Trustee Vallejo. All in favor, say aye.
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 And now we are going to move to vote on this board. Action item 15.2 has been approved, 5-0. 15.3, please. It's an action item, it's a personnel action item, approval of memorandum of understanding between the Perris Union High School District and the Perris Secondary Educators Association regarding the social emotional academic support program.
So moved.
Trustee Freeman
Second.
and Trustee Vallejo, second. All in favor, say aye, please. Aye.
Aye.
Now we are going to vote on IC.
I'm back. Aye.
Thank you, Trustee Ellison. And action item 15.3 has been approved 5-0. 15.4, please. It's also an action item, personnel, approval of memorandum of understanding between the Perris Union High School District and the California School Employees Association and its chapter, Perris Valley number 469, regarding the in-person targeted specialized support and services cohorts.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Nelson and Trustee Stafford second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are going to vote electronically. Action item 15.4 has been approved 5-0. 15.5 is also an action item, is related to curriculum. Memorandum of understanding between the Perris Union High School District, Romuland School District, Lake Elsinore Unified School District, Valverde Unified School District, Nubio Union School District, Menifee Union School District, and Moreno Valley Unified School District to provide Title I, Part A, equitable services to St. James Catholic School, funded through Title I funds when services are utilized, not the general fund. We have a motion.
So moved.
Trustee Stafford,
Second.
Trustee Freeman, second. Are there any questions or comments in this action item? No? Okay. So,
Well, one quick comment. I did discuss this with Mr. Bennett, and I didn't personally know. I knew there was a school there where St. James is, the Catholic school, because I was looking for one when I first arrived here, but didn't utilize it. So I did find out that we give them the funds to cover that we would get on their behalf, on the students' behalf. So it was interesting to know. I didn't know we did that, and I guess all the districts do that. So it's a great thing. I think it's good. So that's it. Just a comment.
yeah, excellent. And just for to clarify, probably this will be for Ms. Martin. This is for Title I funds, so they can supplement the services, right?
Yes.
They are okay.
That is correct.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other comments regarding this item? Okay, we are going to proceed to vote. All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Now we are going to vote electronically. Action item 15.5 has been approved 5-0. 15.6, please. Is also an action item 15.6 curriculum approval for student 307763 to take 12 units concurrently at Mountain San Jacinto College.
So moved.
Trustee Nelson, Trustee Vallejo, second. Any questions or comments? Trustee Stafford?
I don't know if everyone received the email from this student explaining what this was about, but Mr. Bennett, I forwarded it to Mr. Bennett, and he was able to look at it and determine.
It was a kind of interesting thing. She took 12 units the first semester over at MSJC with just a letter from me during the summertime. Now she wanted to do it again the second semester because she's going to earn her AA. She's going to graduate from both schools this spring. And the principal, Harrell, did a letter for her. I did a letter for her. Then they came back and said, you need a letter from the board also. I'm going, why didn't you just ask for a letter from the board to start with instead of going through the other two channels? But she's doing great things over at MSJC, and she's still taking her the minimum 4 classes at Heritage also. So she's busy, but she's very motivated and doing well.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Trustee Staffer and Mr. Bennett. And congratulations to the student, right, to earn her or his AA. Any other questions or comments regarding this item?
No.
Okay. If we are going to vote, all in favor, say aye.
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 Now we are going to vote. We're waiting for one more vote.
Nothing is showing up here.
Nothing is showing up.
You may need to log out of IC board and log back in again.
Okay, just that, huh?
Can he resync it?
Yeah.
Well, let me.
Try that first, but it has been working for me today.
Okay.
I have to do it once also. Yeah.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Freeman. In action item 56 has been approved 5-0. So we go to 15.7. It's also an action item, curriculum. Approval of the local control funding formula budget overview for parents for the 2020-21 school year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Freeman. Do I have a second?
Second.
And Trustee Nelson, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Stafford.
Sorry, I was caught in between pages. So, okay. Yeah, aye, and we can vote.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Stafford. Now we are going to vote. And action item 15.7 has been approved 5-0. We move to the next one. 15.8 is an action item, curriculum. Authorization to continue distance learning at Perris Junior High School District schools for the first 6 weeks of second semester due to the novel coronavirus COVID-19.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Nelson and second Trustee Stafford. Are there any questions or comments on this item? No?
I think the numbers pretty much speak for themselves. I don't think it's possible for us to go back to face-to-face.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Trustee Nelson. Okay, we are going to vote. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
We go to ICB. And action item 15.8 has been approved 5-0. Next one, please. 15.9 is also an action item, business. Approval of the 2019-2020 audit reports. We have a motion.
So moved. They were excited reading.
Second.
Trustee Nelson, second. Any comments?
Dr. Rao,
Yes.
we have our partner with the audit firm Eide Bailey here, Scott, that's joined the meeting. Whatever is the board's pleasure, he can give a brief presentation or he can just be available to answer any questions, but that will be up to you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rains. Do we have any questions regarding those reports?
No questions at this time for me.
Okay, I don't have any questions at this time.
Dr. Arau, may I just give a very brief summary and some kudos to deserve it. Scott can echo my statements here, I'm sure, but you read the reports and you saw that we had a clean audit, meaning no findings. That makes me very proud. I know it makes Mr. Ben very proud. I hope it makes all of you as board members proud. And that's not me patting myself on the back. That is a team effort. While those items that they audit come primarily from our fiscal services audit run by Ms. Fogarty, who you'll hear from on the next item, there's a lot of coordination and collaboration with human resources, with ed services, with the superintendent's office, as well as with technology, and the school sites when it comes to ASB and other forms of accounting. So a lot of us cringe when we know the auditors are coming. Sorry, Scott, but you know that's true. But we're always pleased to get the report. And I just want to extend a heartfelt thank you to everyone that has made that happen. And we've had years and years and years of clean audits. So that makes me happy.
Thank you, Ms. Raines. Trustee Stafford, were you able to comment?
No, I lost my train of thought when I look at these papers. This is a new company that we're using this year, and will be with us for another couple of years.
Yeah,
Is
Scott,
that-
do you want to just give the quick background on how VTD and iDaily merged? Then you can hear from Scott instead of me for a change.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I can. So can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So it is a new company in the sense that we are now iDaily, but really what that was we were merged in with / acquired by iDaily. So as Vavrnik Trine, we were one of the larger California firms. With iDaily now we're one of a top 20 firm in all of accounting. So it's a new name, but it's many of the same people. I'm a new partner on the job. So Perris was new to me. I haven't been around here for a few years. So this is a pleasure to come back and see everybody again, as it's probably been about a decade since I've worked on any Perris engagement. So, but yeah, just to give you the brief synopsis of kind of where we are now is many of the same faces, but yes, a new company. And to echo what Candace said, I know all of you are dealing with unprecedented times and much more important things than the audit, absolutely. But just to echo that, we really do appreciate from our standpoint how much time and effort and energy, especially in this environment, that everybody at your district was able to provide for us and help us get through, a necessary component, albeit, not nearly as necessary as so many other things right now. So just couldn't be more appreciative and happy and pleased with just the amount of effort and that we get from your district day in and day out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Um,
Anything else, Ms. Raines?
No, thank you.
okay.
Anything else from the Board of Trustees? No? Okay, we are going to proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 And we are going to vote electronically. And action item 15.9 has been approved 5-0. The next item is 15.10. It's also an action item, business, approval of the 2021 first interim financial report with a positive certification of the Perris Union High School District's financial condition. No fiscal impact. Do I have a motion?
Did we have a presentation first, or are we going on?
We will be making a
We
brief-
do. We have to first and second, then we can open it up for discussion and for the. So I'll make the motion.
Okay, I'll second.
And Trustee Stafford.
Second.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, good evening, all. I can't believe we're already going to be talking about the first interim. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, yet it seems like it was a long time ago because it's been a whirlwind of a year, and it doesn't look like that's going to end anytime soon with all these constant changes. But I'm going to share my presentation real quick and we'll get started. Okay. So can you see that all right?
Yes.
Okay. So in going over the first interim, I wanted to first talk about the budget multi-year assumptions. So some of the main things that I wanted to focus on was the COLA. So as you remember, well, not our new board member, but the governor removed the deficit factor. And so we're at a 0% COLA for the current and the out years. Now we do have an ADA hold harmless provision. While that's good in one aspect, it is essentially flat funding or reduced funding depending on what your district is going through. If you're growing, you know, that could potentially be reduced, but if your attendance is not doing very well, then obviously that's a good thing. The exact unduplicated percentage is not known right now because we got an extension in collecting the education benefit forms, which could change those numbers and therefore affect our unduplicated count. If that percentage does change, then that also changes our LCAP dollars, not only for this year, but in the out years as well. And that also affects categorical funding such as Title I. And as you know, nutrition and the sites have been working really hard at getting these forms in by making phone calls, social media, reaching out to parents and students. And the latest numbers show that their hard work is paying off, as we are currently just above last year's percentage. So we're doing pretty good. So in the budgeted revenues, the major thing that changed from the 45-day budget is the bringing in of the COVID dollars. So we received about $12.8 million in COVID money, and most of that was federal. There was just under $1 million in state. So that's the significant change in the revenues. In the expenditures, it's the same as the revenues. The major change was bringing in those COVID dollars and then recognizing them in the categories in which we were spending them. We were able to divert some salaries where staff were being assigned to other more COVID-related duties to where we could put those into some of those COVID dollars in order to have a little bit of a savings. So for our first interim multi-year projection, we did recognize some savings last year just because there was a lot of things that we weren't able to do at the end of the year, as you well know, that we had planned on doing. And then with this year, with getting so much COVID dollars and again, being able to divert some of those salaries, we were able to increase our ending fund balance. But if you notice going into 21-22, we start deficit spending again. So we're utilizing some of those savings. If you pay particular attention to the revenues, you notice that going down year over year. That's not only because there's a zero COLA, it's also because there's going to be an increase of special ed cost. So our enrollment, while it's not decreasing when you see the overall assumptions, our regular students seem to be decreasing, whereas our special ed students seem to be increasing. So there's other costs that are not budgeted in special ed if we were to have high need students or different services that have increased cost. And we're also kind of seeing a little bit more increased cost these days with some of our vendors and different suppliers. But as people are trying to recoup some of the monies that they lost during the shutdown, I think that there's going to be an increased cost too, but we can't predict all of that. One thing that I do want to point out in this, since it's not showing, is in our 23-24 budget year, we are just barely above making our 3% minimum. I like to call it 3% and fumes. It's actually at 3.86%. So while we are not showing that, I do want to bring to light that trend of deficit spending continues to grow year over year. So we talked about the majority of this. So I just kind of summarized it here for you, but a couple other things just to bring to your attention that, to consider is when we do get to return to school, what does that look like? Will our enrollment or ADA drop? Will we need to increase expenses to make sure that we're mitigating our exposure and, taking all the necessary precautions? And if the state continues to have the deferrals, that burden continues to fall on districts, which is an added cost. So our next steps, of course, is to have a positive certification. We are able to meet the current year and the next 2 fiscal years, which is what we are required to be able to meet in order to positive certify. And the governor will release his budget in January. And then we'll come back to you in March with a second interim report based on the governor's budget. Does anybody have any questions?
My question, you explained it. Candace, if you could just send this over and I'll come in and talk with you, just so I don't take up everybody's time with simple questions. But so our reserves, that last one, that number is not, as you just said, Alicia, is not our reserves. We'll be down in the 3rd year to just 2-3%.
3.86 to be exact.
3.86.
So 3% and some fumes. So
Oh, okay.
keeping in mind, that 3% is an average of 10 days worth of payroll.
Yeah. We've been there. So okay. Okay, that's all I have. Candace, I'll look at it and ask you some questions.
I'm always happy to talk with you.
Okay, thank you, Candace.
Thank you, Trustee Stafford. Any other questions? Okay, I have a comment and a request, Ms. Rains and Mr. Bennett, if you can please, if it's possible, send the presentations in advance to us so we can review it. And now if you can please either email it to us, to the board, or put it in our Google Drive so we can access them. My comment is related. I just want to say thank you to all the staff members who are working on updating the unduplicated information, and I'm really glad to hear that we are a little bit above from last year. We still have few days. I believe it's December 30th or the 31st, the deadline. And this is really important, as everybody knows, because it's going to have an effect not only for this coming year, but for the next three years. That's our understanding base. So thank you to the staff for doing that, because this represents funding that is going to benefit our students, and that's the bottom line. So thank you for that effort that everybody has to get those percentages up. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so we are on this action item 15.10. If there are no more questions, we are going to vote. Everybody in favor, please say aye.
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 And thank you. And we are going to vote electronically. Excellent. Action item 15.10 has been approved 5-0. We go to the next one, please. The next item is an information item related to business revolving cash report for the month of November 2020. Next one, please. 16.2 is also an information item, board policies, business and non-instructional operations, series 3000. 16.3 is board policies, personnel, series 4000. And the last item is an action item 17. Well, let me tell you that it's not the last item. Is an action item 17.1, closed session if necessary.
Not
Mr. Bennett?
necessary this evening, Dr. Rouse.
Thank you, sir. So we go to the next one, please. This doesn't apply. 18.1, reconvene in public session. 19.1, other items by our superintendent, Mr. Bennett.
Just real quick, I just want to wish everybody a happy holidays. Enjoy some time off with your families. Be healthy and safe though as you do that. We don't want anybody to get sick, and just come back in the new year. Hopefully 2021 is gonna be a better year.
Thank you, sir. Next item, please. Other items by the Board of Trustees. We are going to use the same rotation that we did today. Trustee Elizabeth Vallejo.
I had a great first meeting. Thank you guys for your patience and for your understanding. I'm still new at this, but I am a fast learner. I know if I have any questions, I know all of you guys are open to just helping me out more. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Trustee Vallejo. Trustee Freeman.
Nothing further at this time, sir.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Stafford.
Just want to wish everybody a happy holiday and stay safe, stay home, and enjoy and look out for others. So we'll see you after the holidays.
Thank you. Trustee Stafford. Trustee Nelson.
Just want to reiterate happy holidays to everybody, and everybody stay safe throughout your time off, and hopefully it's very relaxing and we all come back for the new year. And like Mr. Bennett said, hopefully 2021 is better, but I don't want to tempt the fates there. So, so we'll just move on.
Thank you, sir. And I want to reiterate happy holidays to everybody. And I wish all of our staff members in our district, our families, our students, and our community in general, happy holidays. And I wish that you stay safe, healthy, and have a happy New Year 2021. Okay, so we go to the next item, please. Action is an action item 21.1 and is adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Now we are going to vote.
Do we have another meeting after this one, if I'm correct?
Yeah, the facility meeting.
Yeah, so don't go anywhere.
Thank you, Dr. Stavro.
Okay.
We can vote in action item 21.1. It has been approved 5-0. And the regular board meeting of the Perris Union High School District for today is adjourned at 6:53 p.m.
Okay.
So now we are going to go to the next meeting. We stay here. We just go and join.
And this, I start out I run this meeting.
Yes, I was looking at the first call to order. Go ahead, Mr. Bennett.
I'd like to call to order the Capital Facilities Corporation meeting of the Perris Valley Schools. To call the meeting to order at 6:53 p.m. We have an invitation to address the board of trustees. We received none this evening for the Capital Facilities meeting. 4.1 is the first action item. We have general function, Perris Valley Schools, Capital Facilities Corporation election of officers. We're looking for a chairman for the.
I would like to nominate Dr. Rouse as the chairman.
We have a nomination. Do we have a second?
Second.
Dr. Freeman, second. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of Dr. Rouse signify by saying aye.
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 And please go ahead and vote electronically on that. I can't see the voting, so, and is it all finished? Dr. Rouse was elected by a vote of 5-0.
Yeah.
Okay, action item 4.2, general functions, Perris Valley Schools Capital Facilities Corporation, election of officers, secretary/treasurer.
I'd like to nominate Dr. Freeman.
We have a nomination of Dr. Freeman.
I want nothing to do with money. I'm a great secretary, a lousy treasurer. I don't want
But
to.
I would like to nominate Mr. Stafford since he's our vice president.
Okay, we have a nomination of Mr. Stafford and a second by Dr. Rouse. Any other nominees? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 5-0. If you go ahead and vote electronically, please. Did that come out already? Everyone vote?
Yes.
Mr. Stafford is secretary/treasurer. Congratulations, Mr. Stafford.
Okay, where's the money? All right.
4.3, general functions, Perris Valley Schools Capital Facilities Corporation, authorization of necessary filings and reports. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Dr. Rouse and Mr. Stafford second.
Second, yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And please vote electronically. And it go through okay?
Yes.
Yes.
That passed 5-0. 4.4, general functions, Perris Valley Schools Capital Facilities Corporation, authorization for the 2021 audit. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Nelson.
Second.
Second by Dr. Freeman. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 5-0. Please vote electronically also.
It passed.
Thank you. Passed 5-0. 4.5, general functions, minutes from the Perris Valley Schools Facilities Corporation meeting on December 18th, 2019.
So moved. Second, Dr. Freeman.
Motion by Dr. Freeman, second by Mr. Nelson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, 5-0. Please vote electronically again. That passes 5-0. And our final 5.1, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn the Capital Facilities Corporation Board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
We got Trustee Nelson.
Dr. Freeman and Mr. Nelson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Please vote electronically.
It passed.
Adjournment passed 5-0. So we're done for the night. Thank you all for going through all this, and enjoy your holidays.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bennett.